Welcome back to Headbutting with the GOAT, the show built for kids by kids, where we talk to real sports legends and coaches who knows what it takes to achieve greatness. I'm your host, Saket, and today we have a truly amazing guest in the studio. If you love basketball, teamwork, and stories about overcoming big challenges, you are going to love this episode. Joining us today is Coach Hilda. She's the operational manager of San Marcos Basketball, where she has helped grow a massive hoops community for over 200 players. She's also an assistant coach for an elite high school varsity and junior varsity teams, and she has coached in over 100 tournament events. But before she was a champion coach in Southern California, she was a superstar player in Europe, playing point guard for the Romanian junior national basketball team, where she won the national championship medals as a teenager. Coach Hilda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It is an honor to be on your show.
Let's begin with early life. When you were on the Romanian basketball team, how did it feel to step onto the world stage at such a young age?
It was intimidating. I grew up in an environment where sports were part of an everyday life. Discipline, hard work, resilience were just expected. Basketball wasn't just something you did after school. It was something that taught you a lot of structure as well. So I had to learn early on that success comes from repetition, consistency, and then nobody handed you any confidence. Confidence comes from preparation.
Did you have like an influence or like what prompted you to start basketball?
Yeah. Well, I was always naturally athletic. I loved sports in general. They challenged me mentally, they challenged me physically. And basketball especially stood out because it's a game decision, right? It has to do with IQ. It teaches discipline, teamwork, sportsmanship, leadership, and how to respond when things don't go your way.
And when these challenges happen, who was the most influential person in your life or like who helped you get through these moments?
Well, I had my mom was by my side, my coach was by my side, and then, one lesson that had to stay with me for the rest of my life was accountability. So in Europe, coaches, expect effort and discipline every single day, and excuses didn't matter. And that really shaped how I coach now. I care deeply about the kids, but I also believe growth, can happen when expectations are high.
And we're talking about local, but now who did you look up to in like professional basketball? Who did you admire at a young age?
Well, obviously you watch the NBA and you watch all the NBA players, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, y- um, all of the NBA players are your the people that you look up to basically. So that's who you look up to every day as a kid, and that's the same. That those things never really change. Those types of indirect mentorship are there, and the goals that you have as a kid to aspire to those levels is it always amazes me to see that in kids even today.
And how did you balance your academic with your basketball? Like how did you like maintain such a like good at academic while being super good at basketball?
Academics are a challenge. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes with balancing and doing all of that. So as a player and as a higher end elite players, you have to sacrifice friends, you have to sacrifice personal time, you have to sacrifice um, anything like anything else in life is pretty much a sacrifice as an athlete in general, not just a basketball player, but as long as you're willing to make those sacrifices and be crazy obsessed over your goals, everything kind of falls into place for anyone who believes in that.
And after you moved to America, how did you like adapt to this new environment, this new style of basketball?
The adjustment, man, it was a different culture. It was different systems. They were different expectations. You have to pretty much rebuild your own confidence in some ways because um, everything feels unfamiliar. And sports, helped me adapt. Um, Basketball became pretty much a language that I was able to understand.
San Marcos basketball talks a lot about teaching a European style of basketball. What does that mean exactly, and how is it like different from American style basketball?
Well, the amount of opportunity, I say, but it's also the cost, right? So there are incredible opportunities here, but many families struggle financially to access them. So club sports can become expensive very quickly, and that pretty much opened my eyes to one problem. There are a lot of talented kids who simply don't get opportunities because of their finances.
What is one teaching process that merges with American basketball and that you teach to your athletes?
Yes. So Europe taught me fundamentals and patience. And then American basketball taught me ambition, competitiveness, speed, and opportunity. And I think combining both creates the best environment for the younger athletes today.
This is mostly an advice question, but how much do you think people should train or what skills so they should train on based on like their school, like elementary school, middle school, or high school? How much do you think people should train?
Elementary, not as, like you don't have to go crazy, just have fun with it. Play at school, play on a club team as early as elementary. Fourth, fifth grade are pretty much essential for you to join an AAU club team. It could be local as long as it's competitive and it's not necessarily, just recreational. But elementary, I still believe that you should be a multi-sport kid and you should try all the sports so that you can see what you like. And then once you get in middle school, in sixth and grade is pretty much where you have to decide, and you have to pick your sports. And you can still, I still am a great, support for multi sports. Maybe like two sports. Maybe you can do baseball and basketball in sixth grade and seventh grade. Maybe you can do soccer and basketball in sixth and seven, or something that complements with the sports like track and field and basketball. But then once you're in seventh and eighth grade, you pretty much have to play on at least one AAU team and train every single day. My own kids train between 3 to 4 hours a day, and that includes, injury prevention, biometrics, individual skills that you have to do, and then their team practice as well. So once you are in middle school, if you want to make any of the high school teams, then you need to put in the work, and you need to do that with a lot of sacrifice. And then summer breaks and any kind of breaks that you have, you can't go on vacations anymore. You have to work. It's a job. It's You are ready to do that job, or you're gonna end up working something else, once you get in high school or in college. So you have to see it as such.
When you're coaching teams, what is one thing that really frustrates you, almost like a pet peeve? Is it like not getting back on defense or turning the ball over?
Um, I would say, first of all, you want to see, your attitude. As long as the player is willing to work hard and is coachable, that's the first thing that you want to have in order for a coach to work with you. And then the other thing that would be is IQ and adaptability. So you have to understand the game. At one point, it becomes, the game becomes part of, like, everybody's going to have skills. Everyone's going to have speed. Everyone's going to have what you have been working on for all these years. How can you make yourself better? And that comes through, you adapting to the game and having great IQ, playing as a teammate, sharing the ball. Everything that you do in basketball is not about the individual basketball that you can play. It's a team effort. And you have to figure out leadership skills no matter what position you play. You have to figure out your IQ and spacing and where you're going to be. And you have to figure out how to make plays with your teammates.
And now let's talk about San Marcos basketball as a whole. What inspired the beginning of San Marcos basketball, and what is your guys' vision for the future?
So I grew up in a community program that was free, and that shaped me who I am today. And San Marcos basketball pretty much started with me giving back and creating the same type of program in the community that I am in, and that my kids play in. And I I honestly saw a need in the community and within the city as well, that There were a lot of talented players, and they needed development and mentorship and opportunity, and not every family can afford expensive club systems.
I was looking through your website and it was super cool to see sponsors like the LA Lakers, the LA Clippers. How did you get your team noticed by these big names in NBA?
Uh, It was pretty easy, honestly. I would just send them like video clips of like something cool, or like, cool things that my kids could do. And the Clippers and the Lakers were just like, hey, like we are very happy to support all of your sponsored kids. Actually, in fact, all the kids here, here's, key tickets and bring them to the game. So we would organize carpools and little buses to take all the kids to the games at that point. So we went and saw a couple of, not too many, but a couple Lakers games and Clippers games as well. And it was just really awesome because for some of these kids, they never even dreamed of actually seeing a game, or they've never been to see a game in person. So we are pretty much close by here. I mean, an hour and a half, and now the San Diego Clippers are in our backyard, which I'm really excited about. So why not go and take these teams and take the kids to see to see.
You guys have a very unique coaching strategy where the older kids coach the younger kids. I saw some varsity players coaching like the 12U team. And how was that like inspired for you guys to start that?
Okay, so all of those high school kids that are high school teenagers and varsity players that are now coaches and coach the younger teams, the third and the fourth graders, all of those were actually developed in the same system. So we've been doing this for 6 years. So those varsity players became who they were because of the coaching because of the coaches and the coaching that we've done prior and we've helped them with. So they came back, they're local, and they came back to help and to volunteer the same way and to give back. And I'm very grateful for that. I mean, to see that not only that you became an amazing player and you can play varsity as a freshman or varsity as a JV at your high school, but also to understand that you have to come back and you have to mentor and you have to help others. That to me, it was development as a whole, as a person, not just as a player. So I'm very proud of them. So, and I always love that they come back and they help.
What is one message you would want to give to all parents and young kids listening right now?
Yes. So I have a lot of messages for the parents, but one of them would be just enjoy the games with your kids. It goes by so fast. It is temporary for most of them and most of us. And just be a support, instead of asking them after the game, instead of asking them, why didn't you make that shot? Tell them how you feel and tell them how much you love watching them play. Try and encourage them instead of lecturing them after the games. That would be the biggest the biggest thing that I have with the parents is that they need to be supportive and they need to make it enjoyable for the players. Otherwise, the players do burn out, they don't like the game, and then they end up quitting because they don't feel that they are supported and they don't feel that they're achieving. When in fact, it's not all about the winning. It doesn't, this is a temporary thing that you do throughout a whole in life. You learn a lot from sports, not just for your basketball games, but in life, you learn how not to quit, how to have discipline, how to be resilient, how to, work hard for the long term goals that you have. Sometimes it could be a job, sometimes it could be something else that you do later in life. So sports teach you all of that. So parents need to be reminded and need to understand that they need to enjoy that with their kids, and that's growth overall as a person, not just as a basketball player.
And what advice would you give to the kids?
So the kids would be, set long-term goals and make a plan. A lot of the kids, they just go with the flow and they think things are going to happen, but you have to make a plan. You don't need to have expensive training, expensive trainers. You don't need to do any of that. You have the internet. and you can go online, you can Google everything that you need, but the biggest thing for you as a person is to have discipline and to work hard and make a plan for yourself individually and try and join teams. There's a lot of teams that are going to give out scholarships to talented players and to hardworking players. Make yourself undeniable.
And now we will play. We're gonna play a game now where I give you two options of GOAT basketball players, and you tell me which one would win in a 1v1. So it's
All
basically
right.
like a winner stays on kind of game.
I
Okay.
love it.
LeBron James or Kevin Durant?
LeBron,
LeBron James or Shaquille O'Neal?
Shaquille,
Shaquille O'Neal or Magic Johnson?
Shaquille.
Shaquille O'Neal or Caitlin Clark?
Ooh, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark or Stephen Curry?
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark or Sabrina Ionescu?
Well, Sabrina Ionescu because she's Romanian, just like me.
Sabrina or Tyrese Halliburton?
Tyrese,
Tyrese Halliburton or Jason Tatum?
Tyrese,
Tyrese Halliburton or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
And
You know,
Michael Jordan wins the winner stays on challenge. Thank you so much for giving me your time for this interview. This has been Headbutting with the GOAT with Coach Hilda. Thank you so much.
thank you. It was an honor.